Now, imagine this. You're sipping tea on your balcony on a fine morning. The newspaper is spread out in front of you. Suddenly, a crow drops a shiny black pebble on your head. Ouch! You pick it up and realize it's not a stone, but a shiny black egg. You crack it open and out pops a baby chick. And then another one, and then another one. Next thing you know, you have 10 chicks pecking at your feet. How many times have you seen a black egg hatching into 10 chicks? Never, right? Just like you, every Indian will wake up to these weird black eggs in their hands. Because tomorrow morning the whole of India will wake up in complete darkness. No electricity, no internet, no mobile networks. And this blackout doesn't last just for a few hours, but for an entire 10 years. What would happen? Let's find out. First, the public reaction. Within the first 24 hours, panic would erupt. People would keep switching their phones on and off, searching for a network. But all they'd find is silence. Their Twitter feeds would show 0 new posts. Their Instagram reels, stories, DMs, all vanished. Their WhatsApp groups would show no new messages. Hospitals lose power. Ventilators would stop working. Metro trains would freeze mid-track. People would get stuck inside elevators. The heartbeat of the cities would suddenly stop. Imagine how this blackout would look on a map of India. 1 hour after the lights go out, this entire region plunges into darkness. Now imagine 1 month later. Online payments would collapse. UPI would be gone. The banking system would shut down completely. ATMs would be useless. Servers would crash. Stock markets would cease to function. In short, India would be pushed instantly 10 years back, maybe even more. People would have to resort to barter trade. Give me rice, I'll give you lentils. In fact, let us try to imagine this from the perspective of a villager who has just come to the city for the first time. He's amazed by this modern marketplace. But then the lights go out and he sees this crowd resorting to bartering. A young man offers his mobile phone for some rice. The villager thinks for a moment. He has a goat with him. But he also knows that goats can be eaten in a few months. The phone, on the other hand, has no use in the near future. So he strikes the deal. The young man gets the goat and the villager gets the mobile phone. He keeps the phone with him for now, but in a few days, he gives it to the tailor in exchange for a pair of shoes. This way, the economies of cities would collapse. Only rural India, with its agriculture and manual lifestyle, would remain somewhat stable, but crime would rise sharply. There would be no cops to maintain law and order. The policing system itself would collapse. What about the government? How would it function? Well, it wouldn't. Government to people communication would vanish. That's what the Prime Minister tells us. So, governance would practically cease to exist. No wonder they call a kingdom without a king, a republic without a leader, and a democracy without an election, anarchy. And now, for the final part of this blackout, the international impact. Just imagine the world's largest democracy in complete darkness for 10 years. International media would scream, India collapses into darkness. They'd say India is suffering from a never-ending blackout. Some countries might try to capitalize on this crisis, sending in relief materials, only to take over India's resources. Others might try to launch a full-scale invasion. The Indians, on the other hand, would be left clueless. Their survival would depend on their ability to adapt to the situation and make the best of the available resources. So villagers would suddenly become more important than urban citizens. After all, it's rural India that still has the real survival knowledge. For example, how to grow food, how to protect cattle, how to cure basic diseases, how to live in harmony with nature. Today, 80% of India's population lives in cities. These people would struggle to survive without electricity or internet. But after a few years, they'd probably die out, leaving behind only the rural population. But here's something that would be lesser known. During this blackout, pollution would drop drastically. For the first time in decades, the skies would be clear, the air would be clean. People would start reading books again, talking face-to-face, connecting with nature. Of course, this utopian imagination has its own share of problems. For example, droughts, famines, riots, health epidemics, uncountable problems. But this exercise brings us face to face with a hard truth. Today, we humans cannot survive without electricity and the internet. We've become addicted to these things. So much so that just a 12-hour blackout sends us into a tizzy. In fact, today, just 36 hours without power is enough to make headlines. So the question is, if a real 10-year blackout happened, would we humans learn to survive again? Or would our entire civilization reset itself? What do you think? Drop your answer in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more such thought experiments.